Good afternoon. My name is Carrie Hayes, and I'm serving as the high school chairman for our honor band today. Hailing from Carmel, Indiana, Mr. Saucedo is a freelance arranger and composer, having released numerous marching band arrangements, concert band works, and choral compositions. Mr. Saucedo recently retired as the Director of Bands and Department Chairman at the William H. Duke Center for the Performing Arts at Carmel High School. Under his tenure, the Carmel bands have received numerous state and national honors in concert band, jazz band, and marching band. He is currently on the writing staff for the Hal Leonard Publishing Corporation. His concert band works have been performed all over the world by middle school and high school bands, as well as by college and university groups. Mr. Saucedo travels throughout the country as an adjudicator, clinician, and guest conductor for concert band, jazz band, marching band, and orchestra. Mr. Saucedo also served as a brass composer-arranger for the Cavaliers Drum and Bugle Corps from 2000 to 2008, and the brass composer for the Blue Stars Drum and Bugle Corps in 2013, as well as serving as an educational consultant for Music for All and Bands of America. And now, under the directions of Mr. Saucedo, the 2015 Hernando DeSoto Honor Band.
Good afternoon, everybody. The first piece that we played for you called Fanfare and Call to the Post. It's actually written for a famous racehorse who was raised and born in western Pennsylvania and went on to become a Kentucky Derby winner. His name was Barbaro. Unfortunately, we lost him a couple of years ago. This is kind of a tribute to this wonderful racehorse. And this is actually the piece you just heard is actually the first movement of a suite that is called Homage to Barbaro. So there are actually 3 other movements that go along with this. The next piece that we're going to play for you is a piece by one of America's most prolific composers, Samuel Barber. And we were fortunate enough that the publishers and people that own the rights to his music allowed me to do a setting of this beautiful piece, which is actually the middle of his first symphony. And his first symphony is a little different, because most symphonies are not just one segment. They're using different movements. Movements 1, 2, 3, or at least 1, 2, 3, and 4 sometimes. Okay, and this particular symphony is in one movement. Okay, and it's actually his first symphony. So this is the middle section, which we call Andante and Tranquillo, and it is just a really, really beautiful melody. We're going to feature our oboe soloist, Caitlin, and I hope you enjoy that beautiful piece. on the road, I get a chance in my hotel room to turn on the different news channels. And last night I flipped through all of them, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all the major networks. And all you hear about is violence, okay? You hear about all the issues in the world, and you hear about the people that are causing our world problems. Okay, I just wish one time those cameras would be in a room like this, okay? Seeing what these kids who already work their tails off all week long and could be hanging out, watching basketball, chilling, sleeping all day, are here making music because they want to be excellent. Of course I'm going to say this, but I really believe it. I think we'd see a lot less of those kind of problems if more people were involved in music around the world. And I think that's one of the reasons that the United States still leads the way, and I know that we have issues. But you look around the world, and I'll tell you what, music could do people a lot of good around the world. And I hope that continues to happen. I hope that you will keep that happening. I'm so proud of working with these kids this weekend. And so thankful to the DeSoto folks for inviting me and helping me this weekend to make this weekend special for these kids. They certainly make it special for me. I think that a lot of times, and I know that my great colleague and friend Randall was talking about this with the middle school group. So many times we get into a situation where everything is about a grade, everything is about a test score, okay? And we forget sometimes that kids are different, kids do different things, and kids succeed in different ways, right? And I really believe that if there's anyone, no matter what grades these kids may have gotten, I hope they're good, okay? But no matter what grades these kids may have gotten over the last years or two, listening to them play that last piece, that's an A to me. That's an A to me, all right? Because they're going beyond just doing something mechanical. Okay, they're actually applying emotion and feeling and using their heart. Okay, I think that's something that's very special. One of those because of you folks. Okay, you allowing it to happen. Okay, in the school district, there are so many places around the country where it just isn't allowed to happen. Because principals, administrators have said, we just don't have room for music or for the arts in our curriculum. And in my mind, of course, I'm going to say this as a music educator, but again, I really believe it. And I was an administrator for a long time when I taught. Okay, as department chairman, I had to do evaluations of teachers, etc. All right, but I just can't imagine that there's anything that the administrators around the world haven't tried to make education right, except music. Okay, music's the one thing that we haven't just insisted that everyone be involved with. All right, and I'm telling you, it would make a world of difference because people always say, Salcedo, you're lucky. You get to work with the good kids. You get to work with the good kids. My English friends, my math teacher friends, all of them used to say that all the time. And I said, no, I don't get to work with the good kids. They're good kids because they're in band. That's why. I hope that you'll keep it. I know that Randall asked me to say it, and I will repeat this. Please keep the arts strong. I believe, like Randall said, I believe 100% of what he said. It's our last chance to get some of this stuff right. All right, and to try to play the pieces that we've been playing today. Randall could have picked a lot of really easy stuff from the middle school. I could have picked a lot of easy stuff for these kids. We didn't. It's supposed to be a challenge. It's supposed to be about learning. Okay, and these kids did that. And I thought the middle school kids were amazing, actually, too. I thought they were amazing. So, keep it alive. Don't let it die. We're going to end with a piece called Walking into History that I was asked to write by a group of directors in East Tennessee. And it tells the story of the Clinton 12. The Clinton 12, some of you may know the story already, were 12 African-American students who were forced to move out of their high school and to desegregate and go to another high school that was completely white. And so these kids on the first day, they had to move to the new school. Okay, walk down the street, people were throwing bricks, bottles, okay, fire bombs, whatever you can think of at these kids, and there were adults standing on either side of these kids as they were walking to school. But when they got to their new school, guess who the first group was to meet them? The band. And the band was standing outside welcoming them to the new school when everyone else said, we don't want you. All right, so that's why it was special for me to write this piece. It's called Walking the History on Future. To be a part of this festival and to be a part of music education in this community where people will just appreciate it. So thank you, all of you, and thanks.
so much for coming.